Thanks for staying with us. So joining the conversation is a multiple award-winning broadcaster, event compare, public speaker, who has distinguished herself with her craft in radio, TV, and the broadcast industry. Welcome with us, Ayomairo Essay, to the show. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank
Good to have you in our midst. How do you feel being on the other side?
I feel like, this is, you know how you go to a place and then you have to sign on, I was here.
Yeah, I was here, yes. I've ticked that box. I've been on your view.
It's such an icon when it comes to TV shows, whether you date or nighttime.
Right.
So when I was coming on here, I was like, how cute. So I told my family members, and they're like, please take I'm doing it for It's so
good to have you. So why don't you go and join our conversation, because there are too many gists on social media. In fact, we don't even know which one to start with. There was one that we saw recently about a discontent woman saying that unemployed women are getting married. I don't know what the woman's business is, but she made a point by saying that she expressed her displeasure that at the rate at which unemployed women are tying the knot every weekend. According to her, unemployed women are getting married, and how will they feed? How do they plan to feed themselves when they get married without a job? And I'm thinking, what's your business? But this kind of spoiled quite a bit of conversation, because it opened up other kind of worms on the fact that should women remain independent? Should they be dependent? Don't you want the soft life of being taken care of? Must you work? The original plan of God is just for you to be happy, to be taken care of. So why is it a thing that you have to be doing your thing? So what are your thoughts on this? You can join the conversation. And the numbers on your screen, 08127053687, 09139076948. You can also tweet to us at TVC. Can I please hashtag your TVC so we can read your tweets? All right, let me start with BC before I come to... I won't let Ayo start because let me let you warm up first.
Okay.
BC, what are your thoughts on this?
I think times have changed. In our modest times, you would marry a woman so that she can nurture the home. You go to work to tend, the way God did it in the garden. Adam was given the responsibility to tend the garden while Eve was home to tend to Adam when he gets back, Adam. And things have changed. We have constantly evolved. And with the harsh economic realities, I don't think it's wise, except you don't want to be taken care of. I don't think it's wise for you to open your eyes and get into a marriage when you do not have anything in your hands. You don't necessarily have to do a 9-to-5. You should have a business. You should have a way of sustaining yourself. You should be able to feed yourself and feed maybe 2 extra people before you think of getting into marriage. And we've talked about domestic abuse, and most of the times what we saw was that a lot of people are not able to break out of domestic abusive marriages because there is no financial independence. So they are stuck there.
Yeah, but that's if you're marrying Tom, Dick, and Harry. But if if you marry Dangote or $10, I don't want to work. If I'm marrying a Dangote, with all due respect, or paying $10, somebody that also Elon Musk, for heaven's sake, I ain't going to work.
Yeah, but the statistics of the men marrying these women, did they tell you that a Dangote?
So this person that is accusing a woman of getting married without having anything, she's forgetting that there are a group of people that marry rich people. Let me come to your thoughts first.
So for me, I feel that when it comes to making a marriage decision, many marriages break up because of economics. And no matter how in love you are, when you drink Gary the first day, the love was sweet. Drink Gary second day, by the third month of drinking Gary, you would get frustrated. Poverty will take the love out of your heart. I think that it is important for both parties to be empowered and knowing themselves. I think that the world has changed. Even if you're marrying a wealthy person, come with value to the table. And that value might not necessarily be that you're earning as much as him. There's no competition, but you are valuable in that you're contributing positively to the society. It also helps the woman feel a sense of confidence when in that relationship, and it helps the marriage last longer, because when you're having conversation, you're telling me how your day went, I'm telling you how my own day went too, you're telling me what you earn, I'm telling you what I earn too. It's not competition, we're contributing to each other's growth. I think that it's a very...
Let me hear YK's thoughts when I come to White, because I'd like to get Ayo's.
I think that, see, for me, yes, it's good to have a man that will look after you if you can
afford it, yeah.
But look, when I look at the young ones around me, and I see the women who don't work, and that they're married to these young boys, you are putting a lot of pressure on these young kids because they're looking after you, then you go and have 1 or 2 kids. It's that man that has to look after you, that you're not bringing any money, and there's no value. So to me, I think that women should work, and before they even think of marriage, they should at least have come to the marriage with something now.
All right, let me go on a quick break. When I come back, I'll get Ayo's perspective on this. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still having this conversation. Ayo, let me come to you now because there's this perspective I always had. I wish I didn't have to work. All my friends don't believe me, but look at that. I just want to wake up in the morning, have my stewards, have them make breakfast for me, have the kids come around me. I take them to school, I escort them, drop them off, pick them up later. We go to swim together, come back, there's grilled fish waiting for me. Some nice drink, come down, relax. That's my dream. Yeah. But unfortunately, we have to work. Yep. So as much as I understand, we want to encourage young people to work for against marriage, but the real soft life of the ideal. What do you think? Do you agree that
being a kept woman.
God bless you, being a kept woman. I want to be kept. Must we all work?
Okay, so thank you. I think that question is what would make my perspective on what the lady said, what it would be. The first thing is that I believe you. Because I have met, there's some of my friends who look, they're doing everything, but inside life is that they want to be really kept and well looked after. Now, I don't really agree that, when I read the article, I was like, hey, women never get a break. The reason why is because, we often don't appreciate the value. I've heard value a lot. The value of what a woman brings to the table as a homemaker or a house, keeping the home, looking after the children, if it is what has been agreed between both of them. So, for me, it just shows the dynamics, how dynamics have changed. In the olden days, or not too old, some years past, it was okay for you to have the ambition to have an agreement with your spouse that because of the sake of our children, one person will go to work and I'll stay at home and I'll look after it. And if you were talking about value as to what you bring to the table, that's my value. I'm a homemaker. I'm raising up our children to be great citizens in the world. So it's not really...
It's a job in itself.
Yeah, it's a job in itself. So when we think of things like that, we often think, oh, if you're not working, if you're not earning an income, conventionally means that you're sitting at home and being lazy. There's a big difference. So if it's just something... So for me, I don't think that it should be a criteria for women, personally. I think that if you have an agreement, each couple to each his own. If a couple decide that in this marriage, with all that's going on, Crystal and we're still reliving that. Yeah. And then we're seeing how we're saying, people are too busy, we're all working. I'm not saying don't be... I also think it's the quality of the marriage. Right. Where you have a marriage where two of you agree that what you own, it's joint. You have it's also trust deficit. If you believe that you can trust one person to go to work and the person is not going to cheat you out of money or treat you less, respect the value that you bring, then it wouldn't be a problem.
So it's more about adhering to what both of you have agreed. Because it's true that a lot of women who go into this thinking that, I trust that he will take care of us, somewhere they get burnt halfway, where the man hides information on them, hides the property, stuff like that. So that happens. But is that trust that was...
Thank you, Murayo, because I was just going to answer her and say, yes, but guess what? In times gone by, a lot of men disrespected our mothers. Yes. Because they stayed home and they looked after the kids. Yes, we grew up as better citizens. We grew up because we had our mothers there. But the men disrespected them outside. True. They had children outside, they had wives outside, and mistresses, and a lot of the time, those mistresses were working. Those mistresses were doing 9 to 5, and you come to the boyfriend and say,
looking fly,
boyfriend, who is your mother's husband? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Look at her. Look at that woman.
She's so intelligent.
In his mind, you say, look at that woman that I have in the house, just there.
Tying wrapper
up and down.
No, but you're working. You don't have to tie wrapper. You can look. No, that.
Soft look sharp.
Yeah.
When he comes home, the voice that he used to talk to your mother or your auntie. What is wrong with you? Why are you so... What is wrong with you?
Would you say it's the quality of the man as well? Because it depends on the man. There's some men who actually appreciate and are grateful to the women who who no, I won't use the word sacrifice because it doesn't mean you would be totally doing nothing. You can be in, you know, groups. You can volunteer. Yes, PTA. You can volunteer. You can, but you don't have to have. I think from my So I think the quality of the man. So I wouldn't say this is a blanket rule for all women. No, if you're marrying a man that you know cannot handle a woman being at home and can get a job. But if you are able to agree with your man and you want to do it for the good of your family, you've seen your family dynamics, I'm all for it, personally.
So for me, it sounds nice to say that, okay, you're adding value in many other ways. But I know the way money is. And I believe strongly that two different human beings fall in love with each other with all good intention to marry, and then money rears its head and everything goes bad. And it is not as if the man can be stingy. Sometimes the man doesn't just understand why you want to spend 150,000 to buy hair. Or you want to buy the hair. If it is your money, he might not complain. Of course, he might first say, like, what really? But then you explain that, I really like this. I want to buy it. And this is it.
50K.
Bone straight.
So what I'm saying is
50K.
Even more.
Yes,
No,
now
5K. Most about 500. Yes. Quality.
So the conversation,
500,000.
even conversation around gold. Conversation around buying gold jewelry, and a man will feel like they can steal it, but it's your money and you like it.
Let us educate now. Calm down, relax. Let us educate women who want to be kept women.
Yeah.
Let's teach them how to be a kept woman. Listen, I want to
help you. So, the problem with being a kept woman without a proper agreement on how it's going to work is usually a disadvantage to the woman. Okay. Because there are climes, the Arabian countries and all that, where they pay women. The work you do at home, like you rightly said, is very enormous. Like me, I can't be a full-time. It's not possible. I will run crazy. I can't. Because you are constantly going to be nurturing, taking care of, doing the housework, cleaning, organizing, to even plan the meals that we eat. I know the stress, mental stress I go through to plan different timetables because I have to keep changing. So you need to have a conversation on how much am I going to be earning for this work I'm going to be doing? Because if we get somebody else to do this work, you're going to have to pay the person while I do my job. Now that you want me to stay at home, you should have that conversation. That's one. Secondly, observe and see if the person you're going to, if you're starting life together, most of us here started with our spouses. Is it at that time you want to be telling your husband that you would like to be a kept woman? There's a time for it. The way we have, the level we've gotten to right now, we can tell our husbands that I don't want to work. In fact, the work we are doing now, they are complaining. They want us to stay as kept women because they have gotten to a level where everybody's needs can be taken care of with little stress. And I have proven that I have value. So you must have that conversation if you want indeed to be kept, especially if you're not marrying somebody who is very rich. You can marry somebody who's very rich and they take advantage of you and they feel, how much would I even give you? We heard the king, I don't want to mention names, let me just say it like this, that died, the wives were earning 50,000 naira. Honey, 50,000 naira.
You don't know how true that is.
No, I know, it's speculation. I said we heard, and it may be a rumor. But 50,000 naira cannot buy, you just mentioned hair now. I wear bone straight, I know you can't buy
hair. Okay, let me.
So you must have that conversation so that if anything happens at the end of the day, you will be able to go away from that marriage with something tangible for the times that you have used. That's just.
I want us to move this conversation to. There are people who, there are people like me there. I'm working because I have to work. Because money's. No, then when I started, I had to work because, left to me, we're pulling resources together now. But left to me, in my inside, I would have loved to just, have, and I'd like us to think about the possibility of knowing that all those things I say that is worrying, thinking about, it's not a difficult thing to think about meals. Healthy meals is the easiest thing to think. It's not.
If there's money.
Listen, if there's money, you have a chef. Listen, calm down. I have a timetable in my house.
Yes.
I have a timetable in my house.
How often do you change your timetable?
When I feel like I need to change it, I change it.
I change my timetable every 2 weeks because Oga insists on having different meals. So
if you have the money, you just be the home manager. You
home manager.
So, okay, have you changed it? Let me go through the list.
Yeah,
have you done it?
That is the home manager. Don't get it twisted. But the mental work. Because you can't manage and like the way our government manages and they'll give you.
I can manage that easily, honey.
You can manage and you have to.
I can manage that easily.
You are managing people who do not understand where you're coming from. You're managing outsiders who are in your home. You have to observe. You have to follow up. That's what a leader does, so that the things run smoothly.
So
it's a lot of work.
I hear Murayo, and I want to just put myself in Murayo's shoes. Like, okay, I don't need to work, and everything is sorted out. I think that life would be really boring for such a woman.
Yes, I agree.
Very unfulfilling.
Alzheimer's.
Because we are designed for growth.
Work, yeah.
We're designed to, if it to be unfulfillment, there will be that unfulfillment of what am I doing to add value to life. So if you now say you're not working for money, but you will still work.
Listen,
so the way they work might be...
Allow me to define it now. Let me, because you're forgetting that working is about just earning salary.
Yes, earning money.
You can volunteer work. The community services you can do. Yes. All our gutters are there dirty. None of us are so busy working. Forgetting that somebody needs to be there to get people to clean the gutters.
Yes. That's what you want to do.
There's community work to be done.
Even beyond that, some women genuinely find fulfillment in seeing their children achieve. That's the truth. So that's not all women...
Nima says it all the time.
Yes,
some
women just want to... For some women, the fact that my house is in order, my children are well-raised, well-brought up, they go out, and that's okay for them. That's actually really okay for them.
God bless you.
So in terms of, what's my contribution to the world is that I raise leaders.
Fantastic.
That's my contribution to the world. It's not everyone who wants to go to the office.
Yeah,
not everyone.
Absolutely.
And then also, we had to change the picture of how we see housewives. You know what we're thinking of? A woman in a wrapper who's just sitting at home after working, watching. There are some women who do online courses. Yes. They actually they do, even if it's etiquette classes. Absolutely. They do online courses. They read the newspapers. They watch your view.
If their husband are bankers, they read up on banking.
Yes.
So have a conversation.
So the fact that you're not working doesn't mean that you stop living.
Yes.
So you're going to a dinner with your husband, and you know everything they're talking about on the table. Yes. So you're not sounding dumb.
Yes.
He's proud. You fix up, look sharp.
God bless you.
And then you're speaking intelligently at the table.
Yeah,
you don't have to go to work to do it.
High five, Jerry.
What happens when something happens to the man and the breadwinner goes? How do you...
I have access to his account. Yes. I'm the one managing finance.
That way.
He does.
Mariah, you would have found a man that had money. It does not work that way.
No,
but a rich man...
Listen, don't say that.
Let's be realistic.
Be realistic.
A rich man who is already made will not just marry you and hand over.
You don't know that.
No, it doesn't work that way. All the rich people that...
You don't know that now.
When you build together, all
the rich people that have divorced in our area, we see how they go back to square one.
Can I bring
We see how they suffer.
They make a general statement.
You know, I'm just telling you, it doesn't work that way.
There is not one every 10 that you meet a rich man. It's not, maybe it's one every 2 or 500 before you meet somebody who is really rich.
Yes.
Okay, so the hustle is real.
So,
you'll just hand over their property to you.
Are you saying that if my young son marries this woman or this young girl and she's not working, so that one is now working.
Now hand everything.
And she...
Oh, it's not like
no.
See, you have a wrong
and she is saying,
thinking.
Maybe they don't have kids, but she's a homemaker.
Kept woman.
She's a kept woman.
Yes.
Then you think about it.
Think about it.
I don't know.
I'm waiting for you to finish.
Any kids yet? Your son, the woman, you come every time you go to the house to visit.
Cross leg.
She will
paint nails.
You have the wrong picture, Whitey.
Just let me
dramatize it.
I believe you. Continue.
Maybe she's nicely groomed, her nails are painted. Auntie Tokpe, oh, mommy, hello, welcome.
She's an actress.
Chef, come and do mommy some food.
Why would that bother you?
She will switch on the TV. Your son is not home.
Doing all the work, doing all the stress.
When he comes home, maybe you get there around 3. He now comes home around 9.
10.
Sweating. Mommy. Me already anything. I check in losu. You, the mother. What will you be thinking?
You'll not be happy.
What are you thinking?
That they carry on
Whitey, no. That's not
a lazy housewife. It's not, so they are lazy, hardworking. They are lazy career women, lazy in the home, and they are lazy housewives.
Absolutely.
So you can. We're having a conversation. There are women who their life is all about their work. So when they get home, they do absolutely nothing. Same with the men. Exactly. And there are some women who are home and are more resourceful. Yes. So the woman you described is, yes, typical, maybe because maybe she's married to a rich man. But if it was based on agreement, because we want to raise up a...
No, this one's not married to a rich man. She's married to a young, hardworking boy.
So if my husband and my husband is okay. He's not yet, you know, that level. We're getting there, you know. What? Because he's watching. Hello. But if, you know, we've agreed, you know, children come and we've agreed that, you know what, you stay at home. Another thing is contentment. We must be able to manage our lifestyle. So we don't have to be wealthy to even achieve this lifestyle. It is a decision that women get to make on a daily basis based on what your vision of your family life should be like. So if you know that, okay, for now, for this number of years, we're not going to be taking private jets. Maybe we want to travel, we'll go to Budu Ranch. We'll go to Olumo Rock. We won't go abroad.
Let me respond to BC, because when you made that general statement that it doesn't work that way, I don't think is that right general statement, because there are people who are smart enough to organize themselves well. So I am a rich man. I marry you, and we agree that you're going to be kept. I have a salary I pay to you every month. My finances, you know how much I have. Yes, I don't give you my entire account, but you have access. You're co-signatory to my accounts. You're the one that handle all the business. You send money to the family. You send money to loved ones. You pay them. You know, that's the agreement we've had. Yeah. So I'm a housewife with my eyes opened. I'm not just waiting to be fed. I'm very resourceful. I know that my children, all things are in my children's name. I have a car here in my name. I know somebody who, she was the second wife. I mean, she is the second wife. The man has moved on to a third wife. But when she came in as a second wife, the house she lives in VI belongs to her. The man bought it in her name. She wasn't working a day. And the man was taking good care of her. So even though he has moved on to another person, as of today, her children are going to the best schools in Lagos State. She made sure that you paid school and everything. She gets a certain amount of money every month. Yeah. She's a kept woman, and she's happy. And in her own regard, she's accomplished. Her children have grown up so well. Yeah. Great kids.
The ideal is always sweet.
Yes. But the generalization too is not also sweet.
Yes, I may have generalized. Okay, I agree. But what you just made listed now is a 1%. We have issues every day, and we see the realities. We're talking reality here. And when you are teaching people how to adjust with the reality, you have to tell them the truth. If this is not going to work the way you have envisioned it, which I hardly see most men do, let me not say all men, how do you show up yourself? Everybody wants it. But sometimes the rich man, the so-called rich man that you want, has some character flaws that because of that, you don't want that. And you go away, and you go and start with somebody from the scratch till you get to that level. So the generalization of all the men we see around now who are looking for wives, how many of them are rich? How many of them are rich?
Okay, let's take a few messages. Okay.
Yeah, I have a couple from Yemi. Yemi, are you there? Thanks for calling. You're live. Hello, Yemi.
Hello, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I will go with the guest.
Ayo, yes.
I just said it.
I can't hear you, Ayo. Go ahead, please.
I think she's with the guest.
I think she's listening to the voice. Yeah, go ahead.
So please, I wanted to say something. One of the things that we realize with wealthy people is it takes a lot of time to acquire wealth. And there is barely enough time to spend at home. That's the truth. When you talk to super rich, wealthy people, they are flying here, flying there, in meetings, overnight, all of that. And there's a lot of loneliness that comes with being a housewife. And these are emotional realities that we must deal with. That's on one side. On the other side is the wisdom and discipline it takes to manage affairs at home can be better put to use with you handling and contributing your quota to humanity as a whole. Somebody on YouTube mentioned the fact that in Nigeria, where one sickness can make you a beggar,
yes, sir. Yeah.
and you think you're rich, said, yes, so you can work from home, but not that you are staying at home doing nothing. And somebody else is also mentioning that it's not stimulating just raising children.
That's not true.
Nothing will challenge you. So that's another person's perspective, that it might not stimulate as a woman enough to raise children. Someone here is saying she stays abroad and she's raising her children. By the time her last one gets to the university, she'll start her second master's. So that's intentionality. So of course there'll be people that, based on their agreements, they would have to stay at home. Maybe because they're not in Nigeria. But be wise when you are doing that. Yeah. Have a steady allowance you're getting from your spouse.
Yes.
Add value to life beyond just your family. So that you know that it's not just, my husband is not around, you are lonely. So people go through depression simply because their husband has traveled for a while, and the only thing they know in their life is me, my husband, and my children. Yeah. You must build your ecosystem beyond that immediate family setting, and have a plan B for when your children grow. Because I always tell myself right now, I have 3 boys. I tell myself that in a few years' time, my children will come and say, Mommy, I love you so much, but she's the love of my life. And I must prepare for that stage in my life. So I cannot build my entire life and value around raising
let me take this call.
because they will move on.
Yeah. No,
Why can't I want to put you on spot on the but let me take this call.
I kind of disagree with you there.
Let me take this call. Toby, are you there?
Abigail.
Yes, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You again. Good morning. I want to say a few things quickly. Number one, for me, growing up, myself and my sisters, my mother would usually talk to us about the fact that when you're going into marriage, you have to be taking something into the marriage. You know, so I grew up, I'm in my 40s now, but I grew up with that understanding. So I wasn't going to be allowed to get married without having a job, without having something that I'm taking into that marriage. That's number one. Number two, my father worked in an oil company. He was well-to-do, but that didn't stop my mom from getting a job. She worked with the ministry. And guess what? Along the line, life happened. Mother passed on, and my mother was able to carry on, you know, with 5 children. And I was 8 years old at the time. But because she had a job, she didn't have to run helter to meet anybody to support her. But she was able to, by the grace of God, raise the 5 of us through school, through master's level and all that. Brian said something earlier. She said, when this said, what if life happens and the person passes on? And he said, access to the account. What if the person passes on and you find out those money he was pumping around were loans from the bank? All those assets were purchased with loans. And the banks come to take a where do you start from?
Right.
I think, you know, making our girls know that they need to go into marriage is empowered.
Eyes open.
You know, it's very, very important.
We agree with you. Thank you so much. That's a fantastic point. You're right. Waike, I wanted to pick on something she said.
Yeah, because she said her life shouldn't center around her children. But I think that's a mistake that a lot of mothers are making these days, is your children should be the most important thing in your life. Wait, let me finish. Because you are losing a lot of their growing up as you are saying, oh, I want to chase this, Naira, chase this. You are losing valuable time with your kids. So I do not agree that your life, and I know that because a child is a gift, but not yours. Your child belongs to the world. Your child belongs to God. You are just the carrier.
Yeah.
But it is your own duty to look after that child. You have been given that gift to look after. There are people that don't have kids.
Yes, I agree with you.
I agree 100%.
No, because she said,
but you must understand that you cannot be
when they grow, when they eventually grow up, that's
you know, the conversation has been around
business now.
Okay, let me take you about something. Let me take you about something because I'm going to move this conversation to a different conversation. Why can I say something earlier? I don't know if you guys picked up on it. That if she has a son, and she goes to her son's house, and the woman is there just lazing around, and then her son comes at night, she'll think, this girl is just... And I don't know, I disagree with that. Because I think that really, how my son's wife is none of my business.
You know why?
She's married to my son. She's lazy, she's not lazy, she cooks, doesn't go. It's none of my business as a mother-in-law. No. That is his wife. Let him handle it.
I will be happy.
Hey, do you need to be happy?
Yes, I would like to be
happy. Do you need to be happy?
By the time I leave the house that night and I go and meet, whether it's the father or my friend or my sister, I'm saying,
What do you know?
Honestly, for my son.
But we need,
It's okay.
What if he's okay with that?
That dynamic works for them. What if he's happy? So it's just you're not liking it, but he's okay. That works for them.
Let me tell you, 9 times out of 10, that man is not happy.
No, but what if he's happy? Because that's what mothers do. Mothers always assume that their sons are not happy.
That, like Obiajulu said, vegetable don't...
No, then you need...
The assumption is...
Vegetable don't go.
Let me tell you why a Moriah will not feel anything. Because a Moriah is busy. A Moriah has her own path. So you're raising your children, you're focusing on your life, you are a busy woman, you're making your impact, and you're raising your children to also make their impact. When that kind of thing comes up, because you have been in a space where you have mingled, you have met different people, it's easy to just feel, as long as my son is happy, they're fine. But you see the difference between those ones that stay at home and center their lives around the children and raise them. I want you to be this and be that. You are my this for life. When they go and see that sort of dynamic, they feel they have failed. How can another woman, born of a woman, come and turn my son into a vegetable, even when the son is obviously happy, or a slave, because you know what you have put in. You have sacrificed your career, you have sacrificed your dream. There are women who are not able to live to their fulfillment. They have a lot of talent, but because they've chosen, I want to raise these kids to the best of my ability, they abandoned all those things. It tells in old age. You see women go and start frustrating daughter-in-laws because they don't have a life. See how YK is. She goes to her son or her daughter-in-law's place. She knows she has to come back to TV. So I stay with you a few days. She's busy. I have to come back to do a job. But those ones who are steady, all their life they have raised these kids. They come, they stay 6 months, and they frustrate. Once they see anything they don't like, because they constantly remember the sacrifices they have made to raise those children. That's a problem.
Well, to be honest, obviously there's a point there, but I don't think, I also think that there's the challenge of generalizing, whereby we say that all women who invested in their children end up going to be mothers-in-law who are. Some women literally, like I said, it's mindset and the way that you view things. Yeah. So your work here is done. You have raised on to the next project. So once your children have, grown up to a certain age, then I have friends. I'm not speaking out of just, I know as I'm speaking, I'm thinking of real life examples of people that I know who made these decisions. And maybe along the line, once their children have grown, very successful, go start doing other things. Maybe now start to explore their businesses. They never let themselves go. So that's one thing. So the way I would even say is being a housekeeper smartly. So it's not in the days of just staying
smart housekeeper.
Smart housekeeper. So it's not being housekeeping is not tantamount to laziness.
And don't lose your dreams.
Yes,
agreed. Don't lose your dreams.
Don't lose your dreams. Yeah. So improve yourself. So like you mentioned, if you're going to make that decision, then make sure there's some things in place. Yeah. Don't lose yourself. There are many communities you can ensure that you're a part of. In fact, just being a member of your old school girls association or school association is enough. Okay, know what's happening. Get ready. Anything can change. It's not that you're just going to sit at home.
Women's group in your church.
Yes,
that's many things.
Involve yourself.
Let me take this call from Bola. Bola, are you there from Republic of Benin?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, you're live.
Morning.
Okay, good morning, Madam Murayo.
You are live. Go ahead, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, let me start by saying that I want to make a clarification about what we discussed yesterday. Yeah. I'm coming from Cotonou, Benin Republic. The amount of price here is around 20,000 naira.
Oh.
So it's not true that it's 8,000 naira.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Then secondly, on today's topic, the issue we are discussing, everybody should work, whether man or woman. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, every woman should work. But when you are considering the difference between work and job, can we consider this? Is it not better if men are considered for jobs before women are considered? So that those men who have jobs can marry those women. Okay. So that the women will not be at double jeopardy. They are not married and they don't have jobs.
All right, thank you very much for that. I'm having difficulty understanding. So we have to wrap up. Let's take a few comments.
I want to take comments on Ayo. Okay. One said, "Who is this fine jollof?" And this other person said, "Your guest is gorgeous, eloquent, and intelligent."
Your views, species.
Oladidi said, "How I wish my wife was very rich. Then my only job would be to manage how we spend the money." That's from a man's perspective. There's something we've been saying since about, the woman, and all of that. One of the things that I've seen in the trend here is that somebody was saying 40 years ago, many, in the Western world, many women were mainly stay-at-home moms, but they migrated into getting in the workplace because of the reality of life and finding fulfillment. So the finding fulfillment part is one of the key reasons people consider. But the comments that brought up this conversation was more about economical challenges that we're facing in our society, and the fact that no woman should be a liability on a man. Don't get married if you cannot add value, if you don't know how to get a job done. Don't put your entire life responsibility.
But the chips have changed now. Now men are looking for empowered women.
Yes,
so more men don't even have jobs these days. Yes. So they're looking for women who are working well.
I wanted to ask. It says, "Housewife here, trust me, I am not dumb. I chose to stay home and raise my children. For my fourth last will go to school in September, and I will start my second master's."
Fantastic. Yeah, I wanted to ask Essie a question. So you said you could be a housewife and then get involved in, you know, community service, get involved in your girls' association, you know, just do something, you know. And I'm asking myself, why do I want to be doing those things for free? Because it's still going to take some work. I'm still going to wake up. I'm going to use my brain. I'm going to, you know, for me to be actively involved in the community, I am working. But then I'm working for free. Why don't I monetize it? I'm an Igbo girl. Why can't I make money out of it? Please answer me.
Okay, so, I mean, absolutely. If there are ways that you can monetize it, if it's not volunteering. But the first reason why you decided, I would assume, would be because you want to, there's a purpose. So if the purpose, yeah, for a period of time. So what that means is that you're gaining skills. You're not lying dormant. Yeah. Because you can, just like what we've talked about, you can actually get to a point where you're thinking, what do I do with my life? 12 or 13, 14 years later, you're looking down and you're looking at yourself. And then talking about value as well, that beyond your immediate circle, the fact that you're giving back in one way or the other, you're adding to this world, that's fulfillment. I think money has become such a big problem. You know, we're so big on money that...
But my idea of being a kept woman is that you wake up cross-leg. You're not thinking. You're not doing anything. Is that not what you wanted?
Can we talk about all those women that have time? Women that have time.
Let me give you an example.
Let me give to school. And then me that I'm working, they don't make me look like I'm not a good mother. Because you have your wife, your husband is paid on your bills. You are planning activities every day. Mothers come to school today. Mothers come to school tomorrow. And I'm wondering, hello, mothers, you are not working. Me, I'm working. You know.
It's part of it. So like the old school girls, you volunteer to do the event planning for the next event. I'm learning skills of organization. I'm talking to caterers.
That's working. That's working.
But having a child is not
You look
as far as I'm concerned, having a child.
You come in your suits and your high heels and you're just at home sitting at home.
Yes.
Tit for tat.
Yes,
sir. Looking at them, they'll be
yes. Pay attention to your children. You know, we have to wrap up on this.
I think a mother's responsibility is with her kids. I really believe that. I really believe that because I remember when my mom died, I used to leave my daughter with my mom. When my mom died, I had to stop touring because I had to be with my mom, with my daughter. I wasn't going to leave her to be sexually abused by someone, you know. So,
okay, I think that's all we can take on this one. I think generally we all agree that women should have something they're doing, and it should be an agreement between both parties. You know, agree, and both parties should adhere to the agreement of, okay, I'm the provider, you're the one taking care of. But even though you're the kept woman, do something. I agree with you.
Don't be so kept.
Don't be dormant.
So kept.
Like, you can be very kept. Listen, maybe because of my own background. I know that my mother used to work. My mother was a worker. But my other mother was a kept. I mean, she had a restaurant that my daddy did food for, but she was always available. And I enjoyed the fact that we used to play Ludos together, Scrabble together. You know, she was a homemaker. I enjoyed those moments. Maybe that's why I'm always like, I'd rather just stay home with my kids, you know? Maybe that's why, but you never know. But generally...
I'm with you. I'm understanding you because your kids are very important to you.
Yeah. Let's go on a break.
Let's
go on a break, YK. When we come... Yes, we've agreed. When we come back, we'll talk about another topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back. YK.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.